should you do barbell squat or leg press if you had to choose one? Well, luckily we're in a world where we can choose to do both exercises, and that is probably going to be the most direct answer I'm going to give you is if you can, just do both and you're going to get the best of both worlds with each exercise. However, if we want to dissect what are the differences between just squatting and doing leg press, well, I'm going to go through a little bit of a discussion, and you might lean towards do more leg presses over squats, or you might do more squats over leg presses. Firstly, you got to consider what are your goals. If your goal is to gain muscle, then you might consider the leg press to be a better option. If you want to gain athletic performance, then you're going to gear towards more over to the barbell squat. Now, the first thing I want to mention is injury risk. So an injury risk when you're performing the squat, the barbell squat, is going to be a lot higher than it is if you're going to do the leg press. But if you lock your legs in the leg press, I think you're going to have a more substantial injury. Other than that, I think the leg press is a really safe way to work the legs. If you're someone who hasn't really been at the gym for long and you don't know too much about the technicalities of a barbell squat, the leg press is going to be highly recommended. So injury risk on the leg press is going to be a lot lower just because there's less moving parts. You're basically just sitting in a seat and moving the foot plate. On a squat, however, there's many positions that you have to consider, especially if you have long femurs and short torso. That's going to allow a very different squat in comparison to someone who have a long torso and short femurs, which is going to allow the ideal upright squat. Overall, both exercises are pretty safe if done properly. Another thing I want to mention is with the leg press, it's going to be easily accessed. Most gyms have a leg press that is available, and it's going to allow people that don't know much about how to work legs really feel those leg muscles. In a squat, however, a lot of people might feel that they're not utilizing their legs 100% and they're using other parts of the body like their lower back and a bit more of the torso. Even when you're doing a goblet squat, a lot of people feel that in the arms, and the main muscle group targeted is going to be the legs when it comes to these two exercises. And I think leg presses are going to allow you to feel those quad muscles a lot more than the squat. From my personal experience, I find that the leg press is super effective for getting those quad muscles to activate, whereas in a squat, I feel it all over my body, not just the legs. I feel it in my trunk, which is your core, your upper back, and all those little muscles that are supporting stability. A study done a few years ago, it was a comparison between the leg press and barbell squat. Now, this was not to do with muscle size, but athletic ability. So they did an 8-week program, and at the end of the 8 weeks, they found that all participants increased in their performances. The barbell squat had a better result when it came to jumping performance. So you can obviously see why, because the squat is similar to a jumping motion, whereas a leg press has really no relevance in terms of any athletic movement. That's something else to take into consideration. If you're an athletic type person and you want to train for sports, the squats are going to be more beneficial. Now, I think we're all wanting to know which exercise is going to build more muscle. And just from personal experience, I've done a lot of squats and I've done squat only programs with no leg presses involved, and it still grows your legs. People have grown their legs from just doing leg presses as well. And I would argue leg press is a more efficient way at building leg muscles because one, you don't get the systemic fatigue that a barbell squat gives you when you do it frequently. And usually the more frequent you do something that gives you a lot of systemic stress, what I mean by that is like neural fatigue and your load on the spine, and that's going to play a part into your recovery, so you're not able to do it as frequently. Whereas the leg press, you're basically only fatiguing the legs and you just have to wait for your legs to recover and then go back on it and then push your legs for the next session. Whereas the squat, you got to wait for multiple factors in your body. What we understand about muscle growth is stressing the muscle to the point where it needs to make adaptations. And sometimes You can't really do that with the squat, as I said, with the limitations of your trunk muscles and just your movement overall. So if you can't get a deep squat, you might not get the best out of your barbell squat. But most people can get on a leg press and go to muscular failure, which is going to be more beneficial for muscle gain. So hope that helps. If I was to give my recommendation, it's definitely going to be do both exercises, but if you had to choose one for muscle hypertrophy, it's definitely going to be the leg press. But for athletic performance and overall functionality, it's going to be the barbell squat. All right, see you guys on the next video.